What is up, my friends, and welcome to a special edition of the XFL Weekend Review. I am your host, Mark Perry, editor of XFL News Hub, or I should say the OG XFL Weekend Review. Thanks for the free advertising. I am your alt football media guru, episode 181. That's right, 181. It has been basically March, middle of March. Almost 3 years since we actually were able to talk about XFL football games being played in basically just 2 days. This is Thursday, February 16th, 2023. No space aliens coming down, so that's good. On today's show, we are going to go through the previews. We're going to talk DFS, fantasy, and so much more. So before we get into all of that fun stuff, if you want to be part of the show, it's simple. You email podcast@XFL News Hub with your thoughts, record an MP3 video on your phone. We'll play it on this show or next week's show. 888-430-7692 extension 3. We do have a caller on this show talking about, because we also want to talk about Player 54. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's funny because Spotify has just as many downloads as iTunes. I thought that was interesting. And we are live, XFL Weekend Review, live at 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and all that other stuff. But I think we might go, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. If we do live twice a week, I don't know. February 18th, 2023, XFL season begins. That's 2 days away. Do you believe it? People. And we need to get real for a second. I've been doing this a long time. 181 episodes. And they played 5 weeks. So you do the math. So 5 of those 181 episodes were related to games being played. That's how long we've been doing this. So if you like football, then like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get this to 60 likes. Hit that notification bell to get alerted when we go live, when we post new content. Remember to join our Reddit. It's all football on Reddit. We do need a logo and some moderators. So if you're interested in doing that, it's not just News Hub stuff. It's a bunch of other things. Anything that we find related to XFL, CFL, Fan Control Football, USFL, all gets put on there. Also, News Hub Fantasy. That's right, News Hub Fantasy. We have our league is full. We have our league of players that would be playing in News Hub Fantasy. So we're excited about that. Our listener league, winner of the listener league will get I don't want to show their emails or anything like that, but they will get some XFL merch for being on there. NewsHubFantasy.com. Join a fan league. Now, when I did the show Monday, there was 2,921 users. That was Monday. Today's Thursday. 3,559 users. On Monday, there were 802 leagues. There are now 954. So there you go there. People love their fantasy football. So on this week's show, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the draft, the current depth charts that we know of right now. Then we're going to go into DFS, fantasy football, and then we'll get into your stuff. But what did you, the question of the show, what did you think of the Player 54 program? I thought it was great. That's kind of what we thought would come about. I'm rooting for these players now that I watched on the TV show on Player 54. That's going to air again on ABC on ABC after before kickoff of the game on Saturday. So at 2:00, you can watch it again on ABC, which I think that will generate more interest, which is great to reuse that content. You could see replays of it on ESPN Plus. They're also having a weekly show that's going to take place 30 minutes before the final game of every week. I think that one is going to be on Sunday at 2:30. And that is going to be a show like this, where you can, interact. It's going to be on YouTube, and there's going to be a chat and all sorts. Just basically what we're doing. they're going to do that 30 minutes before game kickoff as well. So that's pretty cool about that. So we got Player 54. I want to get your reaction. We'll get to that in the second half when we get into your social media stuff. We got phone calls. We got your social media stuff. Reaction to Player 54. I liked it. I thought it was great. This is what I was hoping. This is kind of what I was expecting. You know, this kind of behind the scenes look at the XFL. They really jumped from, you know, I thought that, you know, there's so much story to tell along the way, but, you know, if you're a super fan like we are, you heard the whole, you know, we've heard the spiel about, you know, when they bought the league and all this stuff, but you got to see Danny Garcia get emotional. You got The Rock getting emotional when he goes to his place where he grew up, and, you know, a lot of negative things happened there, you know, getting evicted and losing the family car. He goes into all that. Big fan of Young Rock, just because, you know, the stories he tells are great. So all of that, and then learning about some of the players and their background and how much it means to them. So all in all, I mean, this is great. We'll see how this kind of kicks in with fans, but we've got you guys on there. And if you got any DFS questions or betting questions, whatever you want to talk about in the chat, this is for you. We're going to try to just do 45 minutes real quick, wrap it up, get you on your way. And then remember, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, we'll have a final recap. There'll be more roster depth charts are coming out. Not all of them are out right now. We've got guys working on that as we speak. We've got fantasy stuff, guys, pumping up that, you know, our guys are working nonstop, creating all this great content for you out there. So we'll get the depth charts, game picks, DFS, betting, all that fun stuff. So without further ado, folks, let's just get into whatever we're going to get into in the XFL. All right, we have depth charts. First up, we have the Arlington Renegades depth chart that came out. Our own Anthony Miller wrote the whole big story about this. Here's the interesting part for you gamblers out there. So first, Rennell Hall, Brandon Arcondo, and Jordan Smallwood. We know Jordan Smallwood, that his name from the XFL original. Those are your three starting wide receivers. Now, it seems like Hall and Arcondo will be the starting two wide receivers, and then the third wide receiver will be Jordan Smallwood. That's what that's the way it kind of says to me. Here is the kicker. On the depth chart, Drew Plitt or Kyle Sloter. We all thought Kyle Sloter would be the guy. If you listen to our XFL Week in Review podcast episode where we talk to Jonathan Hayes, he puts over Plitt. I've heard Anthony Beck put over Plitt as a guy that they're super excited about. I mean, I would be really surprised. I would go with the veteran start and Sloter, but Plitt could be the guy. We have not heard anything that. Also, at running back, Keith Ford, a guy who's been around. Devon Smith is another guy that he was part of the USFL, that whole pizza thing. If you don't remember that, just look it up. It's one of those two. So Adrian Killens is not going to be the starter. It's either Keith Ford or Devon Smith, or do they do, I mean, I hope they did, 50-50. Who knows? I mean, this is the hard part about how things will work when it comes to the league. But, the Arlington Renegades have a great team. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't Anthony Beck. He was the head coach of Battlehawks. I was talking about Jonathan Hayes, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Renegades and under Bob Stoops. I screwed that one up. But Sal Cannella, we thought Kyle Sloter to Sal Cannella is a win, and that would be who the starting place will be, but they're high on Plitt. So we'll see where that goes. And look at their defense. I mean, Donald Payne, Will Clark, Josh Hawkins, Devontae Busby, Will Hill. They got a great secondary, good team, plus Taylor Russolino and Marquette King. The Renegades have a good team. Now, are they favored to win all? No, they're not. To me, they have the best roster, but what do I know? Just something that you need to keep an eye on. And again, when it comes to these rosters, it is fluid. When the XFL started in 2020, 3 freaking years ago, a lot of the quarterbacks that started, half of them were out by week 3. So keep that in mind when it comes to your fantasy teams and when it comes to your DFS betting. Follow the coaches. Follow the coaches. All right, so that's Arlington's team. San Antonio had some things. One of the things that they came out and said was that Jack Cohen, remember him from Wisconsin and Notre Dame, he is going to be the starting quarterback. Now, their team chart, they have Jawan Pass was a guy that people were kind of high on, and Reed Sinnott. So Jack Cohen is going to be the guy. He's 24. Sinnott is 27. Pass is 24. They have a young group, but it looks like Jack Cohen is going to be the guy. A fellow New York Long Islander, by the way. Tried to get him on the show. But so he is going to be your starting quarterback. Keep that in mind. Jaquez Patrick, a guy that was great with the Tampa Bay Vipers. He is going to be the guy that's going to be the start. We're thinking that he'll be the starting running back, so keep your eye out on him. But again, we don't have official depth charts just yet. But those are two interesting things to keep in mind during the week. Our old man Mike Mitchell has got the DC Defenders and Seattle Sea Dragons depth charts. And on offense, of course, no shocker here. We're going with Jordan Ta'amu. Abram Smith will be your running back. Raquel Armstead will be the backup. Derek King and Eric Dungy will be the third string. Again, don't give up hope. This is a fluid situation. Things could change. At wide receiver, Jaquez Ezard, Lucky Jackson are your wide receivers, and Josh Hammond would also be your third wide receiver. I don't know where that whole kind of thing goes in. One of the things Mike Mitchell had pointed out is Puka Williams was a running back. They moved him over to wide receiver. We'll see how that all plays out. I guess he's the third string running back. But I know that there were some injuries with the wide receiver. That is your DC Defenders roster. That is your starting things that you need to keep in mind. Nathan Wolf is your tight end. Now for the Seattle Sea Dragons, they are going, of course, they've got Josh Gordon, who is high up on the list. Lots of wide receivers, Blake Jackson, Ja'Cour Pearson, Jawan Green. Their quarterback is Ben DiNucci, and their running back is Brendan Knox. So keep that in mind. So Ben DiNucci is a guy that you want to definitely look on your fantasy team. I'm a homer when it comes to Jordan Ta'amu. He was the best passer in the USFL. I'm going to think he's going to equal that here. But Ben DiNucci under June Jones as your offensive coordinator could light it up. But it is just, none of these teams have played. We don't know who's gelled quicker, who made the adjustments. Something to keep in mind with those. Those are the depth charts that we have right now. And let's now that we have the best of our knowledge of this stuff, let's get into some DFS stuff. All right, my friends, this is what I have for my lineup this week. So if you're playing on DraftKings, this is kind of the safest one. Ben DiNucci would be a guy. It was hard for me because DC is my team. And I'm going to my first game in 3 years. It's going to be kind of emotional. But this is my lineup. This is why I'm staying away from DiNucci, but I'm very fascinated to see what he's up to. Now, where do you find XFL betting on DraftKings? It's actually under the NFL tab. I was like, yo, guys, you haven't even announced anything. Where is it? And one of the listeners pointed out on social media, was like, oh, it's under NFL. I thought the NFL was over. So that's where you can find this stuff. If you go to DraftKings, it's under NFL. Not sure what the deal is with FanDuel, but I'm going with some safe picks like we talked about earlier, Jaquez Patrick, Jordan Ta'amu. Here you can see what they're ranking all the quarterbacks. Again, Kyle Sloter, we don't know if he is actually going to be the starting quarterback. AJ McCarron, we know he's going to be the starter quarterback for the Battlehawks, a veteran guy. He gets the nod. But again, we know veteran guys from the XFL 2.0 era, and Landry Jones, and he got injured and didn't last very long. The guy that I haven't even now for Las Vegas, we're hearing that that Brett Hundley will not be the starter, that it will actually be Luis Perez. So keep that in mind as well. Jack Cohen, Paxton Lynch in Orlando. Now, a lot of us believe that Orlando probably would not be the great team. Paxton Lynch played in the USFL, and he did not play very well. Brent Hundley is not ready yet. A guy that you're going to look. So if I'm going to take, and here's the problem with Ben DiNucci, who is a great quarterback playing in a great system, but he's playing against Greg Williams and the DC Defenders, who have a great roster as well. Even though the powers that be in the betting world have the DC Defenders as not a good team, actually they've been dropping. So if you want in this game, a guy you want to go with the offensive coordinator and June Jones, but he's not the only run and shoot dude in the league. You got to look at Houston. Brandon Silvers is going to be your starting quarterback in Houston. Is he going to be a guy? But he was a guy for Seattle that didn't play well and then got moved. And I forget the guy, and I wish he came back. BJ, what is his name in the chat room? He started BJ Daniels. He played really well, and then he was out. So if I'm going with guys, I would go. I mean, you can go with McCarron. You could go with DiNucci, Jordan Ta'amu, safe bet. Huntley is out. Paxton Lynch, I wouldn't. Jack Cohen, you don't know what his deal is. Brandon Silvers, meh. And Luis Perez, it will be solid. Theirs are some of the names that you have out there that as far as quarterbacks go. Running backs, they have on the top of the list Abram Smith, because he was the first overall. Durant from St. Louis. Hammonds from Seattle. Killins from Arlington, but we looked and Killins was not a starter. So you want to stay away from him. So I got Jacaz Patrick from San Antonio, a guy that I know that can play the game. He was with an NFL franchise. He'll play in San Antonio. San Antonio will kind of be like a little Pittsburgh Steeler-ish. So they're going to try to run this and establish the ball. I think that's why I kind of went with a safe pick here. I mean, Abram Smith is another guy. I mean, Seattle and DC could be a shootout where they might not run the ball as much. So we don't know what kind of offense the DC Defenders will kind of have out there. So again, go with guys. I mean, look at, Arlington and Keith Ford, or, we don't know who's going to get the start there. But Durant, Hammonds would be guys that you want to look at. This one is kind of a tough one. That's why I'm going with Patrick. I feel like he is definitely going to be the starter. Again, stay with XFL News Hub for the depth charts to find out who is playing where. Wide receiver, everybody is high. This is the guy. Marcel Aitman, St. Louis, everybody is high on him. The question is, how is their offense going to be? Because you're dealing with, kind of some rookie coaches in St. Louis. So we don't know, but he is right now is the guy as far as wide receivers in the XFL. And Josh Gordon, that is a guy too. Josh Gordon would be another guy. Why? Because he's Josh Gordon. He played great in fan control football. Now he's playing with June Jones offense. So he could be a player to check out for. Sean Moster, haven't heard much from him. If we look at the Arlington depth chart, Moster is not even on there. He's not even there. I mean, he is a backup. Oh, there we go. He's a backup. So don't pay for Moster. Guys like Josh Gordon, Martavis Bryant, Jeff Badette. I'm going with Rambo, even though I'm scared about Orlando's offense. I've heard a lot of good things about Charleston Rambo. He has been high in a lot of our fantasy drafts, our News Hub Fantasy. So he is a guy that we want to look at. And then Arcondo, I know about him being a starter. You're getting him at 4,700. So you're trying to want to keep it low into we're just trying to figure out who is starting. So stay tuned to XFL News Hub for all of the latest depth charts as they come out. Another guy I have out there is Geronimo Allison, a guy who I believe is going to start as well for Las Vegas. So he is another name out there. And then I'm going with the Houston Roughnecks defense because of Wade Phillips, clearly. So I feel like they would have a good defense in Houston. Some people think Houston's going to light things up. So I got Jordan Tamu, Draquez Patrick, Charleston Rambo, Arcondo, because I know he's starting, Aitman, who's supposed to be the guy, Allison, and then the Roughnecks. Josh Gordon's a guy to look at, Jeff Badette. We don't know about Las Vegas situation, how Jack Cohen is going to be. So try to go for, basically you're looking at depth charts and trying to figure out who is going to be. Another guy on your list, if you want to be safe, especially if Arlington starts Kyle Sloter, is Sal Cannella. Sal Cannella was the best tight end in the USFL. I have a feeling he'll be the best tight end in the XFL. So he is a guy that you want to keep on your roster, or a guy to keep in mind as we're going forward. Also, take a look at how the lineup is built. Because there's only 8 teams, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, either tight end and then 2 flex, and then a defense. No kicker on here. So this is my entry. This is what I'm going to use. I'm going to go with. Stay tuned to XFL News Hub on Saturday morning at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll go through any other kind of additional I'm looking for my next segment. Additional changes, rosters, injuries, all that good stuff leading up till game time. So you will definitely want to keep an eye on that. Next up, what I wanted to go over, where the heck did I put it in my list? Oh, it's around here somewhere. Where the heck is it? Is my picks. We'll get into that in a second. Where the heck did it go? Let's see here. Oh, here we go. My picks for this weekend. It's games. Here you go. And then this will kind of go into our next segment of the DFS betting. So Vegas Vipers at Arlington Renegades is Saturday at 3 p.m. on ABC. I got Vipers 13, Arlington Renegades 21. One of the things you'll see about the over-under is that they're in the 30s. Typically, and this even happens in the NFL, is that you'll have typically the under, even in the NFL, the under, if you were to bet the under every single time, you would win more times than that. I'm not sure we're going to see high-scoring games. Remember, these guys have basically had 6 weeks of practice, knock out 1 week because of the weather there. And, so we don't know what it's going to be like. I remember with the USFL, we got to go back to the XFL and the USFL. It wasn't super high scoring until you started getting into about the week 3 or 4. So that's why I'm keeping the scores kind of low. But I do think Arlington Renegades, I would assume Sloter is going, but if they're high on Plitt, then he could be the guy. But between their roster, Arlington, I'm a big fan of their roster. So I'm sorry. Yes, the Arlington Renegades with their roster. So I'm going with them. So 13-21. Then the next Saturday game, Orlando Guardians, Houston Roughnecks. The consensus between all the nerds, and you got Paxton Lynch as your quarterback who did not play well in the USFL. Hey, prove me wrong, bro. Prove me wrong. We've got 3-16. So I would take the under in this game. Why? Because Orlando is considered not to be one of the better teams. Paxton Lynch's history in the USFL is not good. And Houston Roughnecks, Wade Phillips, look at the defense. They're going to stop things down. So I think that I would definitely pick the under on that. I got 3-16. I'm telling you, Paxton Lynch did not look good in the USFL. I think he had a good last game. Maybe it was clicking, but we'll see. Again, this is a whole new opportunity. We don't know what we're going to walk into on that games. Next up, St. Louis Battlehawks at San Antonio Brahmas. Rumor has it the championship game will be played in San Antonio. It was going to be Texas. Might as well play at the biggest stadium in Texas. So the Battlehawks could call their way. I'm going to say this is a close one. Some people think it's San Antonio as a team. I think the Battlehawks will take it 17-14 will be the final score there. We'll see how A.J. McCarron plays as the most veteran quarterback in the league. 17-14, I got St. Louis Battlehawks, though I could see San Antonio winning this game. Then finally, the one that I think could be a shootout. If I wasn't a homer, DC Defenders guy, I'm a season ticket holder, go to all the DC Defenders events, say hello to me, I'm out at every single event. Because of June Jones and their offensive coordinator and Ben DiNucci, I think Seattle Dragons can light a team up because June Jones was dominated in the XFL for the Houston Roughnecks. But DC Defenders, I think, has a good roster, a good defense, and they also have Greg Williams. You don't think Greg Williams has faced the run and shoot before? That's why this is a toss-up. ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern. I've got DC Defenders 20-24, though most likely that probably would be a little bit less. But again, you're going run and shoot versus a Greg Williams defense. And DC Defenders have got some players. So I was like, I got to pick one game that might go, high scoring, and that would be that one. All right. On to now DraftKings or your FanDuel, they have some picks. So we'll take a look at that here in a second. This is where you, now it's not in every area. I'll switch to me while this thing is loading. All right, let's start with, while this is loading, any questions from our friends in the chat room? Chat room is blowing up. Make sure you smash that like. What do we got going on? Oh, there's a lot of things in the chat room. Micro TV says he hate me. Been so long, I missed it. Shane says, where can we watch Player 54, ESPN2? Hey, this is XFL Fan. Say, hey, Mark, it's Curtis. XFL Fan, Schweizer's Den. What's up? Let's see. Andrew says thoughts. Well, we'll get to this in a second. We got this loaded up, I think. Let's see. They kicked me out. But not every state has betting. All right, here we go. It loaded back up. So here are my picks for, let's see here. Man, their stuff is loading. Taking a long time to load. So for DraftKings Sportsbook, here we coming. All right, here we go. For DraftKings Sportsbook, they actually is actually under football, and they have XFL has their own tabs. They don't have a lot. So this is the game lines they have up. So I have, based on my picks, I have the Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, St. Louis Battlehawks, and DC Defenders. If you look, a lot of them, this is +3, +3, +21, +1. So you could see Vegas thinks Seattle Sea Dragons, DC Defenders is going to be a close one. Brahmas look like they're going to win. The Battlehawks look like they're going to win. They think the Roughnecks are going to win, and they think Arlington is going to win. But everything is really close. Everything is really close. Rod Woodson you got, going up against Bob Stoops. Rod Woodson is a new coach, so I'm not really sure how Vegas Vipers are going to go. But this is what I have here as far as picks. So I just picked the money line. So basically the money line is just like who you think is going to win. I don't like dealing with the spread because I'm like, wait a second. If it's minus this, then I get confused and I don't feel like doing math. But take also a look at the over-unders on all of these games. 37, 35.5, 36.5, 36. I mean, that's, 3 to 13 is 20 something. You know what I mean? Like 10 and 17 is 10 to 17. I could see those kind of numbers. If you're a betting man, especially that first game, I would probably go the under. I would go the under. The Orlando Guardian, again, I probably would go under. I bet you if you went under on all 4 games, you would be okay. One of them would go over. If it was one, look how close the Seattle Sea Dragons DC Defenders is. So I did that. Put a little bet down. I also got a little parlay just for the heck of it off of those bets. So that's kind of where the money lines are right now. That's your kind of safe bet. As the season progresses, we'll get more information. We'll kind of learn more about these teams. Also, here's what the futures have. Now, I already bet early on about the DC Defenders. Oh, the DC Defenders jumped up. Okay. The DC Defenders. So this is who you think is going to win the XFL championship. So St. Louis Battlehawks is number 1. DC Defenders is number 2. Let me tell you something. When I looked at this afternoon, DC Defenders was all the way at the bottom. They were at the bottom. But you could see the consensus. So St. Louis, everybody's high on the St. Louis Battlehawks. I like Anthony Beck, and I like their team. They got a veteran quarterback. I think you got to go with some of these veteran coaches that have done this before. Bob Stoops has a great roster. I think he's got a solid roster. DC Defenders also got a solid roster. Their coach was HBCU coach, so he's been a coach for a long time as well. The Vegas Vipers, San Antonio Brahmas, and Orlando Guardians, I would put them back. I would move the Roughnecks up. So if you got some money, that's what you can do. Place a $10 bet, place a $5 bet, a $1 bet. But this is kind of where the money lines are now. Battlehawks have been at the top the whole time. Orlando Guardians have been at the bottom the whole time. DC Defenders were kind of in the middle. They've moved up, maybe because it's my influence. I don't know. Arlington Renegades. But, I mean, to be the XFL champion, this is kind of where the bet's at. So it's just something fun to put on there. You just put $1. You want to put $10. Again, don't be a degenerate gambler and bet your family's life money on this kind of stuff. Come on, be responsible. So those are my picks right now. Again, going back to the game lines, I've got the Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, Battlehawks, and DC Defenders. And for fun, I just parlayed that and just for fun to see what happens. But again, if you're going to be a degenerate gambler, I would definitely look at just kind of, you would probably be safe by picking the under on all these things. But that's up to you. All right, we're going to take a little commercial break and be back with your social media stuff right after this. Stay tuned, my friends. Get ready for the biggest XFL season yet with RunTheSims.com, your ultimate toolkit for XFL DFS and prop betting. With DraftKings offering XFL contests with huge prize pools, you want to have the best tools and player projections at your fingertips. And Run the Sims delivers with their lineup optimizer, showdown simulator, and expert pick'em tools for prize picks and underdog. So here's the deal. Use code NEWSHUB for 10% off a monthly or weekly spring football subscription and get access to accurate projections to help you make informed decisions and make that money. That's runthesims.com. Use the promo code NEWSHUB for 10% off. So if you followed spring football and in the past, you know the information edge can be massive. So if you want to win big, subscribe to runthesims.com and use the promo code NEWSHUB today to save 10% off. All right, we're back. I always have to wait for my camera to pop. What's up, everybody in the chat room? Hey, appreciate everybody checking out this episode. Make sure you smash that like button. Just do it. It takes 2 seconds. Just do it. I'm your boy here trying to help you out. Let's see. Norman says, "Go Orlando Guardians." Norman, my dog. I'm a little worried about your Guardians. I hope that we have parity, and I hope every game is awesome, and I hope things are close. This is the way things are feeling right now. We'll see. Micro TV says Vegas for life. Andrew says, thoughts on Martavis Bryant's role? Again, it's a good idea to go with these kind of veteran guys. Martavis Bryant played well in fan control football. He's a guy. He's trying to make his way back. Why not? He was great. He was good in the NFL. Give him a shot there. So I think he could have a role. But again, we have to wait for these depth charts to come out. They're all not coming out yet. They're Not out yet. Shane says, is the XFL going to be on FanDuel? I assume, remember, FanDuel and DraftKings are owned by the same company. I haven't checked FanDuel. I would assume that it is. Micro TV say Player 54 was great. And yes, they're talking a pregame show, but that's going to be on the final game of each week. It's a 30-minute show. Why they don't have guys like Mike Mitchell from XFL News Hub, maybe myself, got a lot of good guys on our thing. The one thing I've noticed is that like all of these guys are bringing in have no clue about the XFL. So why not? But people will know who we are. Talk to me next week. Mike says, hi from Winnipeg. Go Blue Bombers, my friend. Go Blue Bombers. But I have to tell you, Mike, the Hamilton Tiger Cats had a great, you check out CFL News Hub for all of that information. We're going to have CFL Fantasy this year also. That is all set and ready to go. We have USFL on News Hub Fantasy. We've got CFL. Oh, and you can also play Pick'em too. So even if you don't want to play fantasy, you can come over and just pick who you think is going to win and the score we have on that too. He says, looking forward to some XFL action this weekend. This is exciting. I'm excited too. Shane, Winnipeg. Nice. Halifax here. We got our Canadian friends checking in. Super excited about Canadian Football League. We've been covering it for 2 years now, going into our third. And hey, it's all football. It should be fun. A lot of good guys. According to our interview with Mike Mitchell, if you heard this Monday's episode with Mike Mitchell, there are more big-name Canadian football guys looking to make their way to the XFL. On the Facebook, Texan Rooster says, let's go Renegades. I think Renegades going to take the first game. Let's see here. Massivoom says, hi, I want to offer promotion for your channel view. What do you get out of here? Spam. Nate Knight says, I am going to the first Guardians game in Orlando. Can't wait. Yeah, me too. I cannot wait. Me and my wife will be at, again, I've talked about this. We'll be at Walters at before the DC Defenders game. They're giving away towels. Got my wife super excited. She was like, oh my gosh, they're going to have, she loves free merch. So they're going to give away towels. They're doing stuff. It's going to be a fun night. Emotional for me. I'm going to be honest. 181 episodes, and 5 of those episodes were for talking about what we just talked about tonight. Actual players, games, lineups, who sucks, who's going to be good. That's what this is all about. Yusuf says, stand guard, go Guardians. Hey, I'm all about Orlando. Huge Disney fan. Out Frang says 10K salary, LOL. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different. Hal says, surprise, Houston is starting Silvers over McDonald. Agreed. I think they're going with the veteran, and this is why, guys like Ryan Willis and Brian Scott leaving the XFL. It's like, guys, I get it. Number one, you could probably play, well, no, because the USFL is starting when the XFL is when is the XFL is finishing up. You could play 5 weeks in the XFL, and if things aren't looking good, I guess you need to go. I don't know. It's a tough. And these guys, they're playing for their professional lives. But I'm surprised Cole McDonald too. Do you see Cole looking all cool? At the on Player 54. I'm rooting for him. Hey, Hawaii is like Mahalo is one of my things, man. So I'm rooting for him too. A lot of people thought Cole McDonald was going to be in Seattle with June Jones, by the way. Yusef says Rambo over MVP. Damian says, do you think Houston will go undefeated? No, they won't. Houston will not go undefeated. I don't know. That is a great question. If any team could run the table based on nothingness, I would say that the Renegades could be the one. I just think that their roster is great and a lot of veteran spring football guys. Let's see here. Let's get to some other. Herb says Battlehawks are going down. Herb must not be from St. Louis. Roger says Vipers will win. Cyril says can't wait. Me too. Garrett says take the under in every game. The teams won't be up to par yet. I agree with you, Garrett, 100%. That's why I'm saying I'm being a little bit of homer pick, but I don't think they'll be up to par just yet. I agree with you on there. Nate Knight says, but to say a team is only scoring 3 is an insult. You're talking about a team that just got their quarterback, Paxton Lynch. I'm telling you, I thought he was going to be good in the USFL, and he didn't. I hope I'm wrong. Norman says people are sleeping on Orlando. Maybe they are. We're going to find out. You know what we're going to find out? Like in 2 days. We'll see. That's the whole fun. Hal says, yeah, I don't think so. LOL. QB play is much, much worse in college, even the top teams. Act My Age has been waiting for years to cheer on the DC Defenders again. I was a season ticket holder in 2020. I have conflicts this year, but hope to take a couple of games in DC. Good for you. I'll be there. Norman on Facebook says, go Guardians. There's a lot of Guardians fans here. Stick up for your team. That's good. What channel are the games on? Donnell, ABC, and ESPN. FX. Yep, you got all that. Okay. And Herb says, hit that like button, peeps. Yes, we got 28. Get to 30 in a second. All right, let's go into some social media stuff. We got a phone call, and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Here's a little tip. You go to News Hub Fantasy. You want to see, if you go to do a pre-draft, this is the average draft position based off of everybody doing their pre-draft. So they kind of do their pre-draft. I'm a software engineer nerd. So I've used my skills to kind of formulate this. And this is where, and again, I didn't have anything to do with it. This is where people are kind of drafting people in their fantasy league. And this is a good idea to figure out who is playing and who's not. This is why, now Brett Hundley is not playing right now, but could be playing. But that's why Jordan Ta'amu, Abram Smith, Charleston Rambo is a guy, Josh Gordon, Kyle Sloter, Ben DiNucci, Kalen Ballage is a guy. He was down on that list. Paxton Lynch, Puka Williams, I don't know why he's up there. He's a backup wide receiver now. He's not even at running back. But this is based off of, what people were thinking. Now that we've got the depth charts, this is going to change. But just kind of gives you a little cheat sheet, if you would, about what to do there. All right, quickly, let's go to the Facebooks. All right. About the San Antonio Brahmas naming their quarterback and captains. Paul says, hopefully he does better than Rick Neuheisel did in his first professional season in San Antonio. Ouch. Rutan says, let's go Cohen. Dean says, hell yeah, Aussie Brad Wigg getting a go. Very cool there. About the Seattle Sea Dragons, DC Defenders preview from Mike Mitchell. Barham says, is there any logo or advertising to use to spread the word for XFL Sunday Night Football on ESPN? I haven't seen anything about that just yet. That's a good question. On the Twitters, reaction to this Player 54 program. What do people think about it? Uncle Denzel says loved it, and NYS_ZN said that was great. Yeah, I don't have a single complaint. My only complaint is my kids are talking while I'm trying to watch it. A dog was barking. That was it. That was my one complaint. That had nothing to do with them. Tommy Morris hit us up on the Twitters and said, Week 1 XFL offenses ranked off DraftKings salaries of 7 most expensive players. So the Vipers are number 1, Renegades are 2, Vipers are at 54,000. Renegades at 53.3, Battlehawks 52.2, Sea Dragons Brahmas at 48.8, Guardians 45.8, Defenders 44.6, and Roughnecks 44.3. So there's not a lot of love for the offenses there right now. This is all going to change real quick. And I looked at this, I was like, well, that's cool. But how did you see this? And that's when he said, one of the guys says it's under NFL. And then I said, what the heck? CFL, USFL, esports gets tabbed, but it's interesting that it's under NFL. And then DFS _ Marlin, Mark Hogan said, I think they realized too late. So just to create the slate, they added it under there. I don't think it opened up until Tuesday afternoon. What doesn't make sense is they have a 4-game slate and a showdown, but no 2-gamer. So whether this was the last minute, I mean, we knew DraftKings was coming, but I mean, there has been no official announcement just yet. I thought that was definitely going to come today. All right, on to the Instagrams. District _ Defender talking about player 54. He says, I dig it. Excited to see where they go with it as the season progresses. So excited for this weekend. He's got the shield. Me too, my friend. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, broskies. Doing this a long freaking time. All right, let's wrap it up with some emailers real quick. Let's see here. Rusty says, the sound on the Apple podcast is not very good. I can hear the host very well, but when you have a guest, I didn't hear them very well. Volume is all messed up. You know, appreciate the message, Rusty. You're not the only one that said that the audio was kind of messed up, and that's something I'm going to have to play with. That was our first time. The fact that we got it done made me excited. Griffin says, I found a website called MajorLeagueFootball.pro, and it claims to be a pro football league with 22 teams coming in the fall of 2023. The name Major League Football, MLF, claims to not be in affiliation with Major League MLFB, claims to have copyrighted the name. I found it on a separate league after reaching out and received a response. I was wondering if you could use your resources to look into it and find out what it is. Thank you. Love your content. I'll get our guy, Sam Just. He is kind of the main man of all alt football. He knows all of like the indoor football league and all these other guys out there. So I could reach out. I'll have one of him kind of take a look at that. Dallas says, me and another friend are looking to join your league. I was told to email you. Well, Dallas, you didn't make it, bro. You're going to have to start your own league because we got that. We head over to, you got a couple days left on News Hub Fantasy to start your fantasy football league. Let's see. Recommendation for our phone app. Remember, you can get us on iTunes and Apple Pod. We have an Android and an iPhone app. He says, love the variety of news, seeing the likes of ILF, ELF, etc. Would really enjoy if you could add score section to the app to whatever capacity is possible. Otherwise, I really enjoy your work. Have a good day. I tried to do. They're tricky, especially with the Android app. I got in trouble. And we had to make some changes because I was linking to Reddit. So I don't know. So I might not be able to do that scores, but that was something that we did last time. People liked it. The XFL app is fantastic. So I would go with just use us for news and then use the XFL app at this point. In the future, yeah, we're in phase 2 of News Hub publishing world. And, where we got finally a full season, a schedule for podcasts. We have fantasy football ready to rock and roll, out of alpha into beta. So we're just kind of working the gimmick, as The Rock likes to say. All right, let's take a phone caller, shall we?
Good day, Mark. This is the Defender, your official, unofficial mascot for the DC Defenders. Just watched Player 54, and I'm excited to see where they take it as the season progresses. Just calling to ask you where you think the Defenders stand in the division, in the league. I know it's impossible to know without seeing the chemistry of the teams over a couple of games, but I guess based on roster alone, how are things looking for us? Thank you. Shields up, and long live the XFL.
Shields up, my friend. The Defender. I feel like I was talking to a superhero. I think I was. I think he is a superhero. So, your question about the division. Now, according to Mike Mitchell, the GOAT of alt football, he is. We should start a Hall of Fame and just make him the first Hall of Famer. We'll just make our own alt football Hall of Fame. Anyways, he is super hot. I mean, this is a guy that thought that the Argos were going to do well, and everybody else was kind of like, no, the Argos aren't going to do well. And they did do well. They won the Grey Cup. So he is saying that they had a great draft They have a good balance. You have a good head coach. You've got Greg Williams. You've got a good offensive coordinator. You've got a good, solid foundation in place. I don't think they'll be terrible, but they got a good division. Now let's take a look. Speaking of divisions, do I still have that? I think I lost that image. Yeah, I don't have that image anymore. About the XFL divisions, but basically you have the North, which is the DC Defenders, St. Louis Battlehawks, Seattle Sea Dragons, and Vegas Vipers. Yeah, it's really this first game is going to mean a lot. I mean, if the DC Defenders come out and crush it, or if Seattle comes out and crushes it, I think the loser of this game could finish the division in third. I mean, if June Jones is up the DC Defenders, then I think it's game on for Seattle. If DC comes out and handles their business, I think it's going to be somewhere. That's where it's going to lie. And you're like, what are you talking about? The game just started. Broskies, there's only 10 games. This sets the tone for what's to come. So I'm a little concerned. This is going to be a good game. Also, make sure you smash that like button. What's wrong with you people? All right, let's see. All right, D-Tom America says, go Renegades from Harker Heights, Texas. Rylan says, horns forward, go Brahmas. I love the Brahmas uniform. How are these rookie coaches going to do in the XFL? That is the question. How are these rookie coaches going to do? Is there going to be one guy that's going to be the guy and the rest are going to stink? Are they going to be over their head? The fact that they get to work together in this hub, in some respects, is good, and in this instance, it's good to be able to work together with these other coaches. D-Tom America says, do you see Eric Dungey getting any real playing time this year for DC at QB, and why do you think he is the third on the depth chart? I mean, we'll have to see. Again, we don't know. Now, I just know Jordan Ta'amu was good in the XFL. He was good in the USFL. I think he is the guy. Injuries, who knows what will happen. Now, I wish in the XFL 2.0 era, we had Dungey and Derek King. But, Jordan Ta'amu is one of the top quarterbacks in the whole XFL. So he's the guy. Nate Knight says, will the XFL shop actually sell jerseys? Yes, that's supposed to be coming too soon. Herb says, Brahma's winning the chip at home this year. See about that, Ethan. Welcome, Ethan. Tim says, go next. Act My Age says, Major League Football circled the bowl in 2022. They were getting ready to play and folded for lack of money before they ever played a game. There's MLFB, and then there's Major League Football. Yeah, they're like two different ones, kind of the same name. Norman says, which teams are you most excited for? Well, clearly my home team. But also, I'm really interested. Battlehawks need to be good. San Antonio or the Vegas Vipers, those two also need to be good. I think if the XFL is going to rock and roll this year, a good San Antonio team and the Battlehawks need to be good. If Battlehawks could call you people, if the Battlehawks can go into their first home game, what do they got, 2 or 3 on the road to start the season? If they can go home, 2-1 or 3-0 or something, that place is going to blow up. All I'm thinking about too, especially with the DC Defenders game on Sunday, the final one to close the gap, we've been doing this for a long time. 181 episodes, 5 games. This is the 6th episode of the 181 episodes that actually we talk about games. DC is going to lose their freaking mind if the DC Defenders win and Reggie Barlow takes a cup and drinks out of the cup and passes it along, or The Rock puts a cup and passes it along to the beer snake, that place will go bazonk. They will go nuts. Norman says, can you please give your quarterback rankings? Head over to XFL News Hub. Pat Ruffino, our quarterback expert, has a whole thing on there for that. All right, friends, let's wrap it up. We could do this forever. Make sure you smash that like button. Appreciate you guys. Hey, let me know. Let me know in the comments or shoot me a message. Do you want to do this live on Thursdays or do you want to do it recorded? Let me know. You guys tell me. I'm just here to hang out. But, if you guys like it live or you'd rather do it. And Tim says Houston still undefeated. That would be cool if they made a run too. That would be cool. All right, if you want to be part of the show, podcast at XFL News Hub, do the whole thing. Leave a voicemail, 888-430-7692, extension 3. Again, we like to thank our sponsor, Run the Sims. Use the promo code NewsHub. Hey, do us a favor. Leave us a review, Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We appreciate that. We are live every Monday, maybe every Thursday also. And this is the last time. This is the last time you're going to see this slide, my friends. It is officially getting retired. I remember when it was like 100 and something days or 200 days or whatever it was. That's the last time you're going to see this slide. You okay with that? All right, my friends. Hey, appreciate everybody's kind of saying, do it live, do it live. We'll see. We'll see. Talk to my wife. We'll have to see how it goes. All right, my friends. Will we be back, though? We're going to be back, remember, Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk some more XFL. That's right, Rookie 4X for the love of football. We'll be back to talk more XFL, last-minute stuff, last-minute questions. We'll see where these rosters going. Remember, we also have to, even though you've got the depth chart, there's injuries, so much that we'll get you all caught up, ready to go, so that you can get your popcorn ready, because we actually have XFL football games to watch. Thank you, Lord. All right, that's it for me, folks. Mahalo. God bless to all you, my friends out there. And I will see you all Saturday at 1 p.m., if not later.